And hello, welcome once again to State of the Multiverse. This is our community stream where we let you guys know what we're working on, what we've got coming up over the next month or so. Good to see everybody. I'm very sorry about the time confusion. I was woken up late today, and for some reason I had in my head that I had to start at 1 p.m. Pacific. And I got it all ready, and I even launched everything. And then I went, oh, no, wait, the schedule says I'm not on till 2, because I was trying not to compete with Harold. So, and yeah, my stream normally starts at 2 today, so I changed it for those reasons, and I had forgotten that I had done that. So Erin will not be able to be with me today because he is running errands with my mother, which I appreciate. So it's just me. I hope that's okay. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Hi, James. Hi, Kajetan. Hi, Satrium. Hi, Amale. Hello, Daz. Hi, Eli. Yeah, good to see everybody. We're used to the stream starting around the official time, so don't worry. Yeah, it's cool. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, with this time zone change thing, everything's discombobulated anyway, so I suppose it doesn't really matter. Thanks for your patience, either way. All right, so, okay, so what we got going on this month? First thing, tomorrow, be here, 1 p.m. Pacific. I think that's still 8 p.m. GMT, but don't quote me on that. Right, look at the schedule. Right, double check the schedule. It's Erin's Ask an Old GM slot. We're going to be doing an announcement for the ASC for an event coming up that is related to Adventure April, which World Anvil is doing. And, I'm very excited about it. I hope you guys will be too. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm like... Speaking of Adventure April, we will, of course, be participating in that. We're going to write a one-shot for the Toy Soldier Saga. As voted on stream during one of the Ask an Old GM streams, we will be focusing on an independent faction within the Toy Soldier Saga universe. So they will not be loyal to either the Avalonians, which are, elves, gnomes, etc., right? Or the Fomorians, which are orcs, goblins, etc. They will be doing their own thing. So there will be options in the adventure to play it in different ways, right? You can support one faction or the other faction or try to screw everybody. It's going to be great. Player character races that will be available to you from the standard. It's going to be Pathfinder First Edition is the system we're going to write it in, since that's the system we're most commonly using. But remember that that's very adaptable to 3.5. I haven't talked to DM Stretch yet, but if I can get 5th edition or 5th edition conversions, we will do that as well, if he's willing to do that, but I haven't had a chance to speak to him, so I can't confirm that. Right, and basically, okay, so you can play half elves, half orcs, humans, gnomes, goblins, and there's going to be, I hope, 3 unique setting player character races that we're going to do up a little bit on beforehand. That's something that Erin is working on right now, which are the Phoenok, they're cat folk, as invented by our player Blake in our Toy Soldiers Sagas game on our Toy Soldiers game on Monday nights, right? The Ratatosk, which are squirrel people, right? And the Otter folk, also invented by Blake for a different campaign that we were playing. So hopefully those will be available. I can probably promise 2 out of the 3. We'll see if we have time to do the 3. You can also play elves or orcs for that adventure, but you will have to come up with a reason why your character is there. And of course, we're going to have a few pre-made characters that you can just play if you don't want to make something up for yourself. We're going to give options so that you can launch from there into a campaign based in the setting if you want, or just have a little fun on your own. So that's probably going to take up the bulk of the work in April. Right? So, yeah. Erin running errands, says Kayetan. Don't know why, but the words are so similar that the sentence makes me smile. Well, it does rhyme a bit, doesn't it? Daz says, yay, and Sable is bubbling to reveal the secret. I so am. I'm very excited about this. It's really, really cool. There was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that made it kind of difficult to get together and know exactly what we were doing. So we have kind of scrambled, but it really is going to be awesome. We have an excellent plan. I hope to have a blog post up tomorrow on the Anvilite Streamer Core with more information for people. And if not, it will be the day after, right? And okay, so for that reason, because this ASC thing is going to be happening during May, I'm going to postpone my Kickstarter for A Few Good Elves. I've been talking about how I'm going to do the Kickstarter in May, but I think it will be better, so that I do not have a nervous breakdown, that we do it in June. So that is when it will be. It will be in June, and so keep your eye out for it. I'm in the process of making up the Kickstarter page now, and I hope to have that launched in about a week. Chaotica is hard at work on the cover. I'm kind of waiting on the cover art anyway, so perhaps this is for the best, right? And it also will overlap Conduit on the last few days of June, so that will be probably really a lot of fun. Okay, so I've done 2 Kickstarters before. They've both been successful. They've both been for books that I've published. One was for Once Upon a Time in the Weird West, and the other was for Gunsmoke and Dragonfire, which is an anthology that I compiled from different authors. I, accepted submissions and paid the writers. And speaking of which, they get royalties, so I have to do up their quarterly. But, they're weird Western setting stuff, so, it's Westerns, but with a fantasy, horror, or science fiction element, so it's not your grandpa's Western, right? And I'm probably going to use a similar pattern to what I used, right? Which is to say that at the lower levels, you'll get, like, ebooks and bookmarks, right? At the mid levels, you'll get paperbacks and hardcovers. Those can be signed with a slightly higher tier, right? At the higher levels, you'll get things like a collection of books that I have published already, along with the new book, right? And, behind the scenes stuff that I typically only give to my patrons, like live readings. And, there'll even be availability to have one of the signed original proofs. So that is something that I'm very excited about. And maybe, I imagine at some level there'll also be prints of the cover available too. So that is, that's what's going on. Eli says, speaking of nervous breakdowns, I'll probably have one next month. Okay, how come? Yeah, it's not apnea, but beyond that, I don't know. Yeah, Eli had a sleep study yesterday that they did. So, yay, I'm glad you guys are looking forward to it. Daz says, sounds cool. Emily says, looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. I love Kickstarters. They're so much fun. There's going to be a bunch of stuff going on during that time, too. Like, one thing I typically do is I have other writers on, and we talk about, like, and if I do, it's because they're doing something that's related to the project that I'm putting out. Like, say, in this case, I'll have a Black Powder Fantasy author on, and we'll talk about Black Powder Fantasy and what that's all about, and, why it's an interesting genre and stuff like that. And I might have a space opera author on, and we'll talk about space opera and all that sort of thing. So, and World Anvil has offered their support, and they've offered some pretty substantial support, so I really appreciate it, and I'm definitely going to take them up on it. So watch World Anvil for special features and giveaways as well. Although I may save that for the launch, right, which will be in September. Give everybody more time to prepare. Cayutan says, wait, Weird Western is Western with fantasy elements, so if I write a Western story in Magic Earth, it would qualify as Weird Western. Correct? That would be a Weird Western story. And hold on to that, Cayutan, because there has been talk since we started the first anthology about doing a second one in the future, because there were so many good stories I had to turn down just because I did not have the space, right? So opportunity for publication may be coming. So hold on to that, right? And if I do that, by the way, I accept reprints, which is to say, go ahead and publish it elsewhere, right? Just make sure that wherever you publish it, before you send it to me, if it's owned exclusively by somebody else, the rights to print it, then I can't do it. But if it's not exclusive, like say you published it on your world or whatever, then I can. So, yeah. Weird Western movie, Cowboys versus Aliens, says Daz. Yeah, classic example. Another example is that Wynonna Earp TV show. Um, Jonah Hex, right? The comic books. The Dark Tower series by Stephen King, right? There's a lot of good examples. So, lots of fun. Ah, yeah, Eli says I'm triple booked next month between Kickstarter, camp, and medical crap. I can't put off camp because I want to be fair to my editor. Yeah, Brandon Sanderson too? Yep, exactly, right? So, yeah, Weird Western's lots of fun. That's my Weird West setting. I should probably... Okay, I'm going to see if I still have the tooltip active here. I don't know if I do. If not, I'll just type out the link. But there's my Weird Western setting, which I haven't talked about in a while. I actually do have 7 stories that I've written in that setting. And, I'm serializing them to my patrons. So that's something, if you join our Patreon, you get to read a chapter of that a week, right? Or, the book's always available on, should be anywhere. Should be able to go over to Barnes & Noble and order a copy, right? So it's there. It probably won't be on the shelf, but you can order it. So, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. Okay, so I went quickly through that. Cool. Good. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've babbled incoherently about so far? Because I've been babbling, but that's fine. Yeah. I'm very excited about all this stuff. There's so many things to get behind. Okay, while I'm getting excited about things, do not forget that next week, right, is Shy Red Fox's book launch for her book Rise from the Liminal Chronicles. And this is the world that she has been working on for a very long time. She's been edited by Author Goddess, whom I know from personal experience is an excellent editor. And I have an ARC copy that's advanced review copy. I will be posting a review at about the time that she releases. And I'll also be having her on the show. She will be appearing, I think it was the 12th. It's like the second Wednesday in April. Let me make sure here. No, okay, so that's the 14th, pardon me. So she will be here on the 14th, and we will be talking about her book. And support your fellow Ambalites. Also, I did not know I rarely get to catch Shy, but now I'm excited, says Eli. Yeah, exactly. Right? Eli also has a Kickstarter still active, by the way. Please feel free to put the link in the chat, Eli, and I will read it out. For their book, Hindsight Being 2020, which is a collection of poems and stories that they wrote in 2020. Some of them related to the events of the year and some not, right? But, yeah. I don't know if that's addressed to me, Muzzy, but I don't know who you are either, so whatever. Yeah. Kalyatan says, I almost got Shy Red Fox's arc, but had to resign because I'm too busy this semester. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I get you. I'm probably too busy to do it, but I owe it to Shy, so I'm going to do it. Right. A bit too old for Twitch love, don't you think? Well, Snookums, I think that Twitch is for everybody. Also, fuck you and goodbye. There we go. Anyway, where's Stretch? I don't know. Stretch has been kind of missing in action the past several days. You guys enjoyed that, did you? Whatever. Assholes are everywhere, right? Anyway, All right, so I guess now I've come to a portion where I get to show you what I have been working on, because I actually haven't been posting a lot of stuff on Patreon this month, so probably looks like I haven't been doing much anything, but I have been. So if you've not seen it yet, oh, let's see here. Here's the challenge article. I have mostly finished it. I'm doing a little formatting stuff now, and I'm probably going to do like some like a section where I talk about game stats for the mushroom spores. I guess I should go to the main screen so that I can show you what I am doing, right? So let's have a look here. Yeah. So there's my challenge article. This took up a good part of the month because I was trying to make it really good. I'm in the Premier League now, guys. And that means that if I make the short list, then they'll feature my article on World Anvil for a week, which is really cool. So I don't care if I win or not. You know, the whole point is to kind of get eyes on what I'm working on. So yeah, I have a diagram here that I did as a map with clickable doodads that explain the different parts. I just added, before we went live, um, some of the terms that I am using and marked it with the number that I have that corresponds to it on the diagram. So that's something. I got some great feedback this morning from writer Greg's stream. Not only Greg, but other people who were in the stream, like Amelie and Moonflower, gave me some really excellent suggestions. I have already incorporated some of them, like I put a tooltip here to explain what a tincture is, because I don't know that people don't know what a tincture is. I'm an herbalist. I studied herbal properties and medicines and, how to diagnose what people might need and, whatever. So it's a word that I use regularly. So I don't know that other people don't know it, but it caught people twice. So that tells me that a lot of people don't know. Fine. Tooltip, right? That's what they're for. And let's see. Yes, I moved the spoiler, which is here. I'm not going to show it to you because the purpose of putting something behind a spoiler box is so that people can choose whether or not they're going to use it. I will tell you that the adventure that we are writing relates to this, so that's kind of fun. Okay, so that's one thing I've been working on. Now, another thing that I've been working on, let's see here. I have to go to my articles. Where's my articles? There we go. I've been working on rank descriptions for the different ranks within the Avalonian Imperial Navy, right? So let's see here. Right, this is the basic equivalent of, like private, if it ever loads. There it is. Right, and they all kind of follow this pattern where I have the rank insignias. Those were made by Barbarossa Sparklebeard, who is awesome. He did those for me. So I have those in there, plus an example of the uniform, which I put together in Hero Forge. So you get an idea of kind of what it looks like. And then a description of the different, duties and responsibilities. And I love the way, oh, I see I have a mistake in there I got to fix. But I love the way that World Anvil has ranks set up, because it's got things like, a weighting system to determine, right, where they are on the pyramid, like the higher the number, the higher they are in the pyramid, right, and who they report to, so that you can follow the structure from there. And when it's all done, I'll probably make a content tree, which will go, of course, in the bottom section that will show the progression. And then I'm going to do this with the Marines. Now, I've been working on this for a fairly long time, but I think it's kind of important. If you're not familiar with military structures, some of my structures in the novels might be confusing to you. It might be a little difficult to determine, well, who reports to who, what's the job they're supposed to do, why is it being done this way, right? This is the most recent one I've finished, right, which is I'm starting to get into lower levels of officers now. So there's a bit more information about their uniform because the uniforms are a bit more elaborate. That's pretty typical of the Napoleonic Wars era time period that I'm loosely basing the technology and culture on. They also get a pin at this point, which they wear on their collar, right? And this is scrolling really slow. I hope the stream isn't lagging. Right, and then different examples. At this level, they get to pilot, so they get flight suits, right, if they have the training for that, right, and the typical rank of a druid's mate, the assistant to the ship druid, is midshipman, so I show an example. These are not feathers, they're leaves. I think the headdress was originally supposed to be feathers. I'm going to do an article about druids and druids' mates because I'd like to show the back of this as well. It's got a big flower on it. Right? Wearing live plants on your hat has precedence in many militaries. I'm just saying it's not ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. So what else have I been working on? Let's see. I'll go back to the downtime screen when this loads. Says Cayetane, more like they like to say in the military, officer, I work for a living, right? So that's the thing. Right, I'll post a link here. If I've done this right, I'll post a link to midshipman, and you should be able to trace this back through the ranks. If my screen is lagging, it is because I am scrolling down the page, and it's graphic intensive, and it doesn't like that for some reason. So, come on, you. Okay, nah, it's not going to do it, so I'm just going to... But you should be able to follow your way through the ranks that way. Okay. Fleece Comrade says, and hello, welcome to the stream. They say, seems cool to me, plants aren't ridiculous at all. I forget what it is, but I think it's Welsh soldiers can pin a leek, like an actual leek, to the front of their beret during a particular holiday, and then there's thistles for Scots, and I don't remember all of it off the top of my head, but yeah, it's a thing. So, all right, so I'm going to try to catch up on what I've missed here. And by the way, hi Darth, good to see you. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Eli. I'm glad you think the article is cool. I'm one of the big names now. I don't know about that, but it's the community's awesome, and the community supports each other, and I think we try to keep abreast of what everybody's doing, right? They really need to have a way for people to know they are premier, or for others to notice too, says Daz. Maybe. I don't know, though, because the problem with that is that you'll end up paying more attention to the Premier League people, and you shouldn't, people might weight it more in a given challenge if somebody has already won, if they're in the Premier League because they've already won a challenge, then you might be more inclined or less inclined to like their article for its own sake, and... I don't know if that's fair, right? I don't think it is. I think people would rather, I don't know. I don't know about that. But the cool thing about it, like I say, is that, if I just make the short list, then I get eyes on it, which is fun, right? So I'm never going to win the Premier League. I don't think. There's too many people who are too good. Right? I'll probably never win another challenge now. But that's okay. That's okay, right? Because that's kind of not the point, right? It's the point to try, right? And hello, Author Goddess. Is on new computer. Yay, that's great. That is awesome. Emily says, I know what a tincture is, and I am not an herbalist. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you do, but you're like a botanist, right? So Yeah. Emily says, I'm trying to think about where I saw that word. Eli knows what it is. That's cool. Yeah. Is Gala here? I think I saw Gala's name there. I have juicy details about the one shot I'm working on, but Gala wants to play it. Aha. Yes, so, yeah. Hush, hush. I can't wait to hear, though. I'm going to check out your streams there, Eli, so that, maybe I can find out. It's all the art, says Daz. It probably is all the art. That's plus my tab army. Hashtag tab army. Busy with school, says Gala. That's cool. Calyatan asks, very good question. Do Westerns have to be set after the American War for Independence? Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I'll do that first. Hail, hydrate, Moon. No. No, they don't. It really depends. Like, it's sort of... I did an article on it. Like, what constitutes a Western? And, in part, it's a sense of tone and mood. But in part, there are some classic Western plots. And they take place in sort of a frontier-ish setting. And that can be anywhere. Like, that can be a different planet, a different dimension. There were lots of people who use, like, extra-dimensional entities that they never did explain in the anthology. That was cool. So, I think typically they are set after the American War for Independence, but A, they don't have to be American, and B, they don't have to be any particular time or place. Wikipedia has a great article on what qualifies as a Western. And they were talking about, like, there's different types. Like, there's, let me see here. It's been a while, so I have to think. But there's different types of Westerns that take place in different settings, right? There's urban Westerns. There's, like, I don't know, winter Westerns or snow Westerns, and those type of things tend to take place in Canada, right? I mean, remember that Canada, the whole Western mythos is also important to Canadians, right? Because we were, I mean, the history of the United States and Canada doesn't start to diverge until the American War of Independence, right? And that's only politically. Culturally, it was very similar until then, right? But there were some political divergences at that point that led to a divergence of culture, right? So, yeah. Oh, I'm not a botanist, I'm a chemist. Well, you know so much about plants! Okay, that's cool. It's cool you're a chemist. So if you're a chemist, you know what a tincture is. Of course. Because it's like, early chemistry used tinctures, right? BBC did a show called Merlin, and they used the word tincture, says James. What a tincture is, for those who don't know, it's an alcoholic compound. It's usually like high-test spirits, like brandy or vodka or rum or whiskey, right? And you steep an herb in it for an extended period of time. And it's because the alcohol will extract some of the properties of the herb that you might not be able to get from water. Like, it might not dissolve in water, but it might dissolve in alcohol, right? Or it might dissolve in water, but maybe you want to preserve the qualities longer, and it will dissolve in alcohol too. And of course, alcohol doesn't go off, right? So, yeah, not high test stuff anyway, right? So that's why that's done, right? Canadian Western, says Eli. Well, yeah, Weird West is a post-apocalyptic fantasy Western that takes place in a future Saskatchewan. Right, so, and some of it's going to take place in BC as well. I've got the characters moving over there, so. Emily says, but I've taught biology practical at university, and a lot of them are about plants. Yeah, that makes sense. Fleece Comrade says, I know a great Australian Western movie called Quigley Down Under. That is an awesome movie. It's hilarious. I love it. Yeah, very good movie. Oh, Northern West. Yeah, a Northern. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. Another name for a Canadian Western. Cayetane says, according to Wikipedia, Canadian Westerns are called Northerns. Yeah, I wonder if Mexican would be Southern. Possibly, right? And then there's also an Eastern, which is kind of like Soviet era Russia was really interested in versions of Westerns, and they did a whole thing around that. So they called them Easterns, which I thought was cool. Yeah. Emily says, I learned chemistry in France in French. I think I learned the word tincture in Regency books. Yeah. Well, not for a long time. James says, alcohol doesn't go off. I thought it did. The high test stuff tends to last longer. They use it for preserving. That's part of the reasons why tinctures are used, right? So Eli says, technically, I have a tasty tincture in my freezer. It's a Polish mint vodka. Sadly, I'm allergic because mint. Aw. Yeah, some alcohols do turn into vinegar when they go off. Eli's right. But usually that's the, lower alcohol content, stuff like wine and beer, right? If you didn't do something right in the distilling process to make a high test liquor, yeah, yeah, yeah. Author Goddess is like, tincture is just a tea made with gin. Yeah, gin's another one they use because of the high test alcohol. Yeah, the fact that it's got a greater alcohol content, so it lasts longer. Bacteria develops less quickly, right? So you can keep it for a while, right? So that's the purpose. And most medicines up until the 20th century were in the form of like dried herbs or tinctures. So, yeah. Okay, so I've talked about that. I've talked about Adventure April. I've talked about what's going on tomorrow, which is, again, don't miss Ask an Old GM at 1 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, which I think is still 8 p.m. GMT. Okay. Cayetane says there are two types of Soviet ones. Yeah, Red Western, which is set in the American Wild West, and Eastern, set in the Asian parts of the USSR. A Western has a certain tone and feel. There are 7 major plots that a Western typically follows, and you can move those plots to different settings. As a matter of fact, one of the main plots, which is usually settlers versus indigenous people and the conflict upon them coming upon each other, and the cultural clashes, are often better dealt with in alternate settings, I think, right? Because there are a lot of racist elements that are often present in older Westerns, and we have I think we got better ideas about it now, so we don't, it might be better to put it on an alien world to give your colonialism, right? You know? Ah! Cool! Also, there are goulash westerns. These are 2 Hungarian movies. That sounds great. Spaghetti westerns, right? Spaghetti westerns called that because they were made by Italians, you know? But, oh, hey, yeah, another obvious weird Western example is The Mandalorian, right? That's a classic weird Western. It's awesome, right? So, I also have Becherovka, which was originally developed as a digestive. Neat, says Eli. Hello, LJ Stanton. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. This is the monthly community stream where I'm kind of talking about what I've been working on and what's coming up. Well, what Erin and I, my hubby, and my partner in this whole world building and setting and RPG creating endeavor are working on. So, yeah, good to see you. How are you today? I haven't seen you in a while, I think. So, yeah, cool. Glad you're here. We're coming up near the end of it, though, because I think I have run out of things to babble about. I'm just trying to remember if there's anything else that needs to be discussed. Okay. All right, so I suppose I can actually talk a little bit about book 1 of the Toy Soldier Saga. I've been busy. I hear ya, LJ. Yeah, I'm glad I can catch a little bit of your stream, though. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're here, too. And hello and welcome to anybody who's new, by the way. If you don't know me, my name is Diane Morrison. I'm known in the community as Sable Erin. I am a world anvilite, so I do a lot of world building stuff. I'm also an author. I am what they call a hybrid author. I've been traditionally and independently published. I'm a science fiction and fantasy writer. I am an imminent member of SIFWA. I'm applying. I'm in the process. And I have 2 major worlds that I've been working on. One is called the Toy Soldier Saga, which is fantasy, space opera, black powder fantasy type stuff, right? It's Napoleonic War era technology in space with elves and orcs. Okay, and then the other setting is the Weird West, which is a post-apocalyptic fantasy western setting. So these are the major things I do. Yes, and the stream will simply change to my regular writing stream after the announcement stream. Yes, it will. Thanks, Daz, for pointing that out. I'm in about 10 minutes, maybe a little less, since I seem to be running out of things to talk about. I will shut this down, change the marquee, and then put up the wait screen for Diane Actually Writes, which is a stream where we do timed writing sprints with 5 minutes breaks between 15-minute sprints, or whatever creative thing you want to work on. Oh, thank you for the bits, Daz. Yay! My sounds are all shut off. What the hell is this? Why are all my sounds shut off? There we go. Okay. I think I might have to check the settings there. Thanks for the bits, Daz. You're awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Okay, yes. So that's what I normally do. And usually my husband is with me and we do a stream once a month. He is a role-playing game designer. He is designing role-playing game elements for the 2 settings that I write in. And he also creates content for those settings. Oh, thanks for the bits, James! Yay! You guys are amazing! Right, so, yeah, this is kind of where we update things and talk about what's going on in the community and whatnot. Oh, yes. Okay, so there's been a couple new episodes of If This Goes On, Don't Panic. That's a podcast that I do about hope and speculative fiction. Yeah, hope, resistance, and speculative fiction. We did an interview with he was awesome. I have to look it up because my brain is not working today. But I will check it out just a sec. I actually have to spell it right. Okay. Yes, we did an interview with Dr. Alan Stroud. He was awesome. He has written for Baldur's Gate video games, and he has a new novel that has just come out called Fearless, science fiction novel. It was a really fun interview. The episode is up. Before that, we interviewed Nadia Afifi, who has written an amazing novel about, clones and conspiracy. It's over there. I thought it was over there. The Sentient, that's what it's called. Excellent book. Here is the link to the podcast. So check those out. So if you catch my Twitter, you may have seen me go off a couple days ago, by the way, because my friend Graham Barber, known online as Panzer Lion or POC Gamer, right, who I've had on my podcast, and who has made kind of a name for himself critiquing racist and colonialist elements, and also other prejudicial elements in role-playing games. He had an adventure that was accepted for publication in Candlekeep Mysteries, and Wizards did a hatchet job on him, right? They trashed his adventure, which, okay, I get setting limitations. I'm actually less mad about that. What I'm actually genuinely mad about is that they took his Gripply, which are like frog people, right? And okay, that's actually their thing. They came up with it, but he had a new non-colonialist take on them, and then they specifically used the word primitive twice to describe them. Now, those of you who follow If This Goes On, Don't Panic will know that we had a discussion especially about that word, primitive, right? It's a prejudicial word. It's used often by Western cultures to describe cultures that are different and may have different kinds of technology. And it made me very angry that they had done that to his adventure. He asked that his name not be included with the future publications because, that his name be taken off the credits because he was so upset with what they had done to his adventure. Yes, oof, primitive is a terrible word and descriptor, agrees LJ. That is awful. Yeah, I was very angry about it. In particular, because we had a conversation about that word, right? Like, it's so, yeah. So I was very mad for him. I asked him to come on the show. He just kind of wants to wash his hands of the whole affair at this point. I also talked to an industry veteran, and this goes to show you what the situation is in gaming writing, gang, because the industry veteran, who is in no danger of their career suffering, wanted only to be identified as an industry veteran. I can tell you it's an actual name you've heard of if you follow gaming. And I wish that he would own it, right? Talk to me behind the scenes about it. He reached out to me and he explained some of the scenarios, like some of what's going on in gaming writing. And apparently one of the things that goes on in gaming writing is that they just don't bother to consult their authors. They take their stuff, then they rework it, they don't communicate with you, and they claim it's your words. So my advice is never write for big gaming companies, especially Wizards of the Coast. There's my advice, because it needs to change, guys, right? And I just, of course, have, if I had any hope of writing for Wizards of the Coast, I just ended it right there, and I don't give a shit, because somebody's got to do something, right? So that took up a fair bit of my energy over the past several days, because I was pretty mad about it. So, yeah, that's where we are. In traditional publishing, the process is very different. You work with an editor. The publisher decides what they will and will not publish, but they consult you every step of the way, right? And somewhere between, you negotiate and you come up with an agreement about what you're going to put out there. Now, granted, yeah, this is work for hire, so technically they can do whatever they want, but I don't think they should be able to put words in your mouth, not like that. So, Eli says, Wizards of the Coast have been problematic for years. I'm sorry that happened, but sadly not surprised. The internet's kind of blown up about it, apparently. I read an article that someone shared in the Discord, not knowing about the conversation that I'd been involved in there, where I was basically going off about how this is totally unfair. And, people are writing about it, and that's good. I hope that people are talking about it, because only if... honestly, as the gentleman I was talking to pointed out, Wizards is currently top of the gaming market. They think they're doing everything right, and with no financial incentive to change, why would they, right? And yeah, that's kind of how capitalism works. So I urge you to support other games, and maybe then they will get the goddamn message, right? That's what I urge. So there you go. Okay. I'm sorry to end on such a downer. There are so many things going on that are good, though. Like I said, Kickstarter coming up in June. Oh, and Conduit. That's what I didn't talk about. Okay, Writer's Conduit. Here we go. Okay, I knew I was forgetting something. We are hosting a writing convention on Twitch. It is the Twitch writer community has gotten together in a big way, And there are several of us on the planning committee who are involved in different writing communities within the Twitch writing community. I can promise you now, we're going through the panel submissions. Author Goddess and I are hammering out a kind of a loose itinerary, and then Shy Red Fox will be putting together the schedule with our consultation. I'm answering that question, actually, Eli. Yeah, right. We're still hammering out the specifics of the panels, right? I was sick. Author Goddess had life, so we are behind on this, but we are getting it done. I believe we're meeting tonight to continue the discussion, and yeah, it's going to be great. I can promise you for a fact that our original promised mandate is covered, and that was that there would be 8 hours scheduled at different times on each of the 3 days. That's, I believe, the 25th, 26th, and 27th. Yeah, there it is right there. 25th, 26th, and 27th of June, right? There will be 8 hours on, and there will be slightly different 8 hours so that we can make sure that all time zones have a chance to play, right? But each of those 8 hours will be fully covered with 3 different tracks of things going on. So there will be at least 3 or 4 options of things for you to do at every given hour of the time that the conference is active. We are now starting to expand into other time zones. So I think it's likely we're going to fill 16 hours on each of those days. They are, and it's all free. It's all going to be on Twitch. You'll have a schedule on the website there where the link is provided. So you, with links to the streams that are involved, each track will be rating into the next event in that track. So the 3 tracks will be, the craft of writing, the business of writing, and the tech of writing, right? The writing and streaming, right? Because writer Twitch, right? So if you just want to follow one track, you'll just be carried along into the different events, and it's going to be good. We're going to have like a place active for those who don't actually want to do workshops or panels at all times that the conference is active. We can just come hang out. It's either going to be a sprint lobby or like a lounge kind of chat, informal setting, someplace where you can disengage and unplug, right? But talk to other writers if you want to. Or, if you're a reader and you want to learn more about the process of writing, it's designed for writers by writers. So do keep that in mind. But writers also includes role-playing game designers. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff on that. It includes editors, publishers. It's going to be great. Let's hope Twitch will work good during the conduit, says Kayetan. Yeah, we're all kind of crossing our fingers on that one, aren't we? Yep. LJ says, my husband works for Twitch, and he really wants to see a proper writing channel developed for the writing community. I will definitely bring this con to his attention. Thank you very much. A bunch of us have been asking for a writing category. I'm sure you're familiar, right? And you're right. Maybe if Twitch sees that there are a whole, a shit ton of us writers on Twitch, maybe they'll give us a category. Twitch has actually become a really good place to hang out with other writers. What we're getting out of it is kind of the same immediacy that you get with National Novel Writing Month, in that you are, it's like a write-in, right? It's like a write-in when you get to write and hang out with other writers or learn things about writing or whatever. And it makes the whole process a little less solitary. So there's quite a few of us now, and we're getting bigger all the time. And maybe try to apply for a panel if it's not too late. Do it now would be my advice, because probably after tonight it will be. Yes, please do apply for a panel. We would love to have you. The more the merrier, but yeah, it's got to be done pretty soon, right? So yeah. Yeah, the dream is to get a proper category as well as develop tools for the writing community eventually. That would be awesome. As Eli points out, yeah, it's great, and year-round. There is a category called Writers, says Cayetan, but I doubt it was meant for this. Apparently it's an indie game that was developed by somebody, so it's a game, right? But pretty much, if you see someone streaming writers on Twitch right now, it's because they're actually a writer and we took it over, right? Let's just be honest. We're abusing it. We know we are. And, you know, but people know how to find us that way, right? LJ says, like, the music community worked hard to push for a channel, and now they're working on tools like Soundtrack to help support them. I would love to see something like a Scrivener integration. Okay, I'll tell you, if you want to do something for us, we need a Scrivener integration and a World Anvil integration, and we could probably talk to National Novel Writing Month about maintaining a channel and resources too, right? That would be... those would be awesome, right? Those would be awesome, because those are major tools that are used by the writing community. I think those are the major tools. Yeah. LJ says, I need to become more familiar with World Anvil, but I would love to see Twitch Studio have tools for writers. So what I'm using right now is Twitch Studio to do this stream. So that would be amazing, right? That's a good question. How would Scrivener integration work? Yeah. I love Twitch Studio. It's what I use too. I'll tell you, it's a lot more reliable than OBS. My husband has to adjust. He uses OBS and he has to adjust the audio every time. I never do. So that's a difference. Yeah. Okay, gang, it is 3 o'clock, and that is quitting time for me so that I can shut this down and do the writing stream. You can reach out to Nano for that. I have Tim's email somewhere. Brilliant, Eli. That would be very helpful. That's awesome. We should definitely collaborate. Message me, LJ, if you want anything from me, like, you know, anything at all about this. I would support this 100%. And Eli obviously has the connections at National Novel Writing Month. Oh yeah, which reminds me, in all of this, I'm also going to be doing Camp Nano. And I'm going to be editing A Few Good Elves and book 2 Brothers in, no, To Know Your Enemy, right, as well, for my project. So that's what I'm doing for Camp Nano. So I may do extra streams in order to have the time to do all this. So watch the calendar, guys. You can find the Anvilite Streamer Core calendar here. Amazing, LJ. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here so that we could make this connection. That is great. That's great. And other writers will also be equally excited about it. If you're not on there yet, check out, does somebody have the Discord handy for the Twitch Writers Network? Right? If you're not on there already, I'll try to find it. They're a group of, I mean, just writers of all different varieties. And a bunch of us come together on there. Let's see. There you go. You do have it. Okay, good. All right. Because, yes, there is an invite. Thank you. That's great. If you are a writer and you're not on the Twitch Writers Network, I suggest you get on it because there's a plethora of resources there that are available that, you know, they're all for writers. They're to help you. All right. Thanks, gang, so much. Yeah, and the For the Words people, that's another thing. For the Words is a big community too, right? So, I mean, they already get some things that other Twitch writers don't because For the Words is already a game that's recognized by Twitch. But, so what, right? So, yes, definitely check out the con. I will see you guys next month again, it's the last Thursday of the month, 2 p.m. Pacific. That is when we stream. I'm not going to tell you what time that is GMT because it will be different by then. I think at that point that's 10 p.m. GMT. So, and it was a pleasure to see you all. Have a great rest of your afternoon. I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to fire up Diane Actually Writes for writing sprints. I'm going until 6 p.m. Pacific today, so that is an extra, it's not an extra hour, but normally when I do State of the Multiverse, I only do 2 hours, but I'm going to do the full 3 hours today. So hang out with me, gang, and yeah, you don't have to go anywhere. You want to keep chatting in the chat while things are getting set up, please feel free. I will have to refill my coffee, so it will be a few minutes, okay? Oh, nice. Hi, bye. I'll be back in a minute, Bob. Thanks for the bits, James. Yeah. All right.